You probably just don't care about your life that much. The problem isn't that you're broke. The problem is that you're not taking it seriously. Look at it this way, bro. I've seen a lot more videos on the internet of people being like, oh, I'm a 30-year-old loser. I'm a 40-year-old loser. I have no job. I have no friends. I have no kids. And the economy is rough and the world has changed. But I believe after leaving my hometown 6 months ago and coming back again, the biggest issue isn't really that you don't have the opportunities. The biggest issue is that you're distracted. The first time I had stepped out, it was the first time I ever left my country, and it was the first time of me being adult, right? No one's gonna tell me, hey buddy, you gotta clock into work. Hey buddy, you gotta do this. Hey buddy, you gotta eat 3 meals a day. And even if they did, they probably didn't even speak my language. At least for me, why I got stuck wasn't really because of my work ethic. It wasn't really because I didn't want to do the work. It was more so because I didn't prioritize it. And I'm kind of bringing this up to say that if your life looks the exact same now as it did a few years ago, and it was something that you wanted to change or something that you didn't want, or you had a certain vision for what you wanted out of your life, then maybe it's because you're not really putting that much priority or importance on the change or the vision that you have in your life. I don't think you necessarily have to be a workaholic. That's not what I'm trying to say. But you gotta think about it this way, bro. Have you ever like raw dogged a flight? I'm talking about no distractions, no music, no phone time, trying not to sleep. I did that on my flight back from Japan to Canada. It was a 15-hour flight. And I can tell you right now, when you're undistracted, you don't have anything pulling your time or attention away from the present moment, and you have a lot of time available, time moves very slowly. And I can tell you right now, if I had that 15 hours a day available and I was just on the ground or in a different country, because I'm not a saint either, bro. I'm telling you this from my own realization of my own situation. Do you think I would have used the whole 15 hours productively? No, bro, I wouldn't have. And that's the symptom of the problem. The problem is being focused. The problem is prioritizing or realizing what actually matters for you to make progress towards that goal. And I think when you're in your same environment, don't realize how much time is going away to things that are not helping you in the long run. Or I'm not saying either that you can't have fun. And I'm not saying that being a normal human and enjoying yourself is a terrible idea. But I am saying that the main thing and the main obstacle behind the life that you want, I believe, is just the focus that you have, where you put your time and attention. If you're distracted 90% of the day, how do you expect to do something meaningful with your life? How do you expect to actually make the vision that you have for your life come to fruition? And it's ironic too, because the world by default is pretty absurd. We're here for no reason. We don't really get why we're here. But humans, we have this desire to find meaning and purpose behind the things we do. So we have to create that meaning. But there's consequences to not creating the meaning, right? Because if you don't have a vision for yourself, then you just meander through life. But it becomes miserable because now it's like you don't have anything to your name and you don't feel good about yourself. And that's where these 40-year-old loser videos come out, where people, they didn't focus, and the choices they made, they would keep making the same choices, and then they ended up in that position, right? We are in a time where it is a gold rush of opportunities for income. There are so many ways to make money in today's age outside of the traditional employment route that a lot of people have access to, but they just don't understand. And you will never gain that understanding if you're not paying attention. I'll list some as proof. You could do UGC, e-commerce, you could do drop shipping, you could do Shopify, you could do digital products, You could do freelance work. In freelance work, you can do English teaching. You could do, I don't know, you could do brick and mortar businesses if you have some capital to invest. That's not really online, but let's say you and your boys put up a website together on Lovable, some, random vibe coded website. You guys go knocking door to door, do some trash removal, something junk removal, something like that. You know what I mean? There's so many ways that you can make money, and they're like in front of you. That's the thing, they're literally in front of you. But if you're not looking and your attention gets pulled away and the opportunities are over here, time goes by and those opportunities, they disappear. Do you think that someone else is going to create another Uber? No one else is going to create another Uber. There may be other rideshare apps out there, but no one's making another Uber. No one's making another Grab. No one's making another Lyft. You know what I'm saying? No one's making another Tesla. Those opportunities that you're not paying attention to, they go by. And especially with AI, my whole workflow has doubled with AI. You don't understand. I'm going to say this openly and honestly with you. My workflow, when it comes down to ideation, editing, thumbnails, has doubled with AI. And all it takes is a couple prompts. And if you're not paying attention to Claude or GPT or just new ways to make your workflow faster, or just give you opportunities to find income because you want to, I don't know, go out every weekend, you just want to doom scroll on your phone for 6 hours. You don't understand, bro. The people who are doom scrolling, right? Me, you, whatever, while we're doing this, there's someone doing this, right? They're recording the content for us to doom scroll. And if it works, we stop, we watch, and they get paid. Why don't you get paid? I am making this video for you. And if you sit down and watch this video, it gives me exposure. And here's the thing, I sell a product. Oh, this guy's selling a course. I'm not selling a course. I wrote a book. It's in the link in the description. It's just about solo traveling and relocating. So check it out if you're interested. But cheap plug, but look at it like this. If even one person decides that that book is worth looking into, then that helps me, right? So you got to look at it that way. There are so many opportunities for you to find some financial progress or just move ahead in a direction that you want in your life. Even if it's not about making money. Let's say you've always wanted to learn a language or pick up a skill or do something different with your skill set. If you don't put the time into doing it and you replace the time that you could be practicing with a distraction, you're not gonna make much progress on it. If I give you a week to learn how to play a song on the guitar, and every day you work on it for maybe 30 minutes, maybe, I don't know, 10 minutes, maybe you skip a day, then how do you expect yourself to actually get decent at that guitar? Minutes, maybe you skip a day, then how do you expect yourself to actually get decent at that guitar? If you ever played The Sims, you want your sim to have some skills, to not be useless, you freaking throw him into something, he does it for like 20 days in a row. You could do that, bro. It's just about putting that time in and realizing the time that you're spending being distracted or not focusing on what's important or what you want to achieve is going to be the time that you lose on making progress towards your vision. I think it's easy to get distracted when you're either A, not taking yourself very seriously, B, not believing that you can actually achieve the goal that you have for yourself, or you just giving up and feeling like maybe it's just too difficult. And I think that's the biggest thing too, that third one, because when you don't believe that it's possible, you're not even gonna put that much effort towards it. There's really only two ways it can go. It's either it works out or it doesn't. And let's say it doesn't work out, then there's only two ways it can go. It either doesn't work out and it kind of burns you in terms of your time, but you can always just go back to where you were before, or it doesn't work out and it burns you in terms of your time, you go back to doing something else. So it's like, realistically, we make consequences way bigger than they really are. And because it's scary to think that, like, oh man, if this doesn't pan out, I'm gonna lose everything. I believe, and this is only me speaking from my own personal experience, that if you take the risk and it doesn't work out for you, the worst thing that can happen is you go back to where you started with more information. Unless it's something crazy like, I don't know, changing your gender or something like that, then it's like, oh, well, maybe you want to do a little bit more consideration. But if it's something like your goals and you want to just achieve a next stage of your life, maybe you want to start a business, right? Maybe you want to learn a language, maybe you want to learn a skill, whatever. Think about it rationally. If you go and you start and it flops, well, guess what? You're back to where you started, right? What you get, you have the same amount of capital, you haven't made any progress towards building that business, or maybe you have a little bit more, right? But on the upside, if you start the business and then it works, well, guess what? You're winning. You have way more capital, you have the business that you always wanted, and you feel accomplished because you did the thing. You know what I mean? So it's like, take the risk. And if you feel like it's not possible for you, look at your environment. Seriously look at your environment. Look at why you feel like that. Maybe it's time that you either tell your friends, hey man, I have something I want to work towards. And that's also going to expose who is really there for you, right? Because people will express, people like to talk, right? People like to say, oh man, we're boys, we're cool, I'll always be there for you, broski. But at the end of the day, actions speak louder than words. And if you are the type of person who brings up an idea to people and they shut you down, they judge you or whatever, if you're in that kind of environment, what do you think that's going to do to your motivation? What do you think that's going to do to your desire to actually move ahead? I have a personal story. So I started to get consistent on Instagram when I was traveling. And I'm not going to lie, actually follow me on Instagram. I'm still Mike27, but I'm not going to lie, I kind of fell off. I had someone that I know DM me, right? And they're like, yo, have you tried doing this type of content? And I'm like, no, I think that's good feedback. I appreciate that. And they're like, it's just because the way you talk is like boring. And I'm like, bruh, I appreciate that kind of feedback. I appreciate the honesty. But at the end of the day, it's not productive. What is that gonna do for me? Because here's the thing. When it comes to content, bro, there's so many people on the internet. There's so many people. And the algorithm's job is to connect your content to the right audience. That's literally the whole point of the algorithm. The algorithm doesn't work against you. Matter of fact, I would say the algorithm is your best friend. I'll put it like this, bro. There will probably never be someone who watches video games and live streams all the time. I will probably never get one of those people watching my videos because it's just not content that interests them. But I can guarantee you're probably between the ages of 18 and 30, you probably are into self-improvement or travel or something like that. That's kind of the content you probably watch. And I'm predicting that with full confidence because you wouldn't be watching me if you weren't. That's the thing. That's the beauty of the algorithm. I'm not a big channel, but YouTube will put me in front of the right people. And it's the same for any other platform because these companies stay open and running by targeting audiences to the right content. All you have to do is make the content. Seriously. And like, you don't need to be famous. You don't need to be famous for someone to resonate with your message. The best thing about people and human psychology and sales and marketing and whatever is the fact that people trust people that they connect with. Just be authentic, be honest or real, and then be patient, bro. It's really like that. I think it just works and applies to everything in life. It's easy to also get distracted because it's a slow process. But if you just focus, bro, if you just pay attention to what you want to achieve and you do it every single day, even if you just time block it, you will see improvement, bro. Just make sure that you try to do it every day. That's the hard part. The consistency is what's the hardest part. If you get the consistency down, you will see some type of progress, bro. You are not stuck because you cannot do it. You are stuck because you are choosing not to do it. Everybody has some reason that pulls them away and distracts them. So it's not always the case that you cannot do it. Sometimes it's the case that they know how to do it in a different way. And that's where you need to start looking at other tools or other ways to help you get back on track and stay consistent so that you can see the results that you've wanted to see in your life. So that's the message. Watch this video, subscribe, look into the winner's circle, link in the description, and I'll catch you next time.